I'm going to do what may sound like a departure from advanced directives for just a second, but I really believe it'd be remiss for me as an attorney not to mention what I consider the four main documents that are vital to end-of-life decisions. And I'll just briefly touch on some others and then come back to what the main focus is tonight, and that's advanced directives, specifically advanced care plan and appointment of health care agent. But it may do us well to just go back and do a real fundamental study, survey here for just a second. The first document that comes to everyone's mind, I think, in end-of-life planning is a last will and testament, which is where you dispose of your property that you own at your death. In advance, you decide where you want your property to go, and you execute a last will and testament, and that will fulfill your wishes in terms of your estate and your physical possessions, physical belongings, and property. And I'm doing these in an order which I usually explain them in. Number two is a living will, or what we now also know as an advanced care plan. I want to list them in that order because, folks, it's not hard for people to get confused between a last will and testament and a living will. A living will disposes of your property. A last will and testament disposes of your property. A living will expresses your interest and protects your interest from having your life prolonged in a way that you don't want it to be. And what we now know also is an advanced care plan. So I know there's a distinction there, and I know you probably do, but let me make that. The third document I think I'd be remiss not to mention is a durable power of attorney, period. Durable power of attorney, another way to think of it is a durable power of attorney for business purposes. That's where you can authorize your attorney, in fact, it would be called, your power of attorney, to make business decisions, make business transactions that you can make. Now, what's important to remember is the word durable. What that means, and this will segue over and I think help us explain advanced care plans more effectively. The word durable means simply this, that you can execute a power of attorney today, and if you become totally disabled tomorrow, it remains in full force and effect. It is durable. It survives you having the stroke, the accident, or the dementia that Dr. Nunnery mentioned. Okay. Now, one quick example. I've had this happen many times. A spouse, for example, will be in the hospital because their husband or wife has had some tragic event, the stroke, the accident, or whatever, and they need to dispose of property, sell property, conduct transactions. But just because you're the spouse, that does not give you the authority over your spouse's property. So the durable power of attorney can be just a valuable document. Now, it ends at death. Keep that in mind. It stops at death. But while a person is either comatose or disabled in some fashion, this document allows their attorney, in fact, power of attorney, to carry out business for them. The third document is fourth document would be the durable power of attorney for health care. That's a document that obviously appoints someone to make health care decisions for you, the same decisions you could make. And again, there's the word durable. So if you become incapacitated, incompetent, comatose, whatever, it survives that event, and this health care agent makes those decisions for you. Now, let me come back to what we're talking more specifically about tonight. The concept of living will and durable power of attorney for health care in Tennessee go back to about 1985, I think, when those statutes were really promulgated in the form they still exist in. But in 2004, the legislature passed the Health Care Decisions Act, a separate statute, a totally different part of the statutes. But it simplified, made more specific, expanded in some ways, but simplified the concepts of living will and durable power of attorney for health care. There's now one document called an advanced care plan whereby you can carry out both the benefits or results of a living will and a durable power of attorney for health care in one document, because you can appoint your health care agent in that document and also specify the types of measures that you don't want to be applied to you to artificially extend or prolong your life. So keep in mind, wheretofore we had living wills, and folks, we still have living wills. The statute is still in existence, and people can still execute living wills today, but we have a much simpler and readily accessible way to do this without the need of an attorney called the advanced care plan. And as I said, in that advanced care plan, you not only express your wishes for your end of life and what you don't want to occur so that you can die, natural death that you want to die, you also can appoint your health care agent. But there's also, under this act, this Health Care Decisions Act, another form that has been promulgated, and it's called the appointment of health care agent. This is akin to the durable power of attorney for health care, but it's a much simpler form. And what I want to express is that I don't advise it, but someone can appoint a health care agent by this separate form without having to have an advanced care plan. You don't have to have an advanced care plan. I totally agree with Dr. Nunnery that we need them. We all do. The main planning documents for end of life are a last will and testament for your property, a living will, which is now a much simpler alternate version called the advanced care plan, a durable power of attorney for your business purposes that can help take care of those situations where you are incapacitated but still alive and something needs to happen business-wise. It's very important. I want to give you one example that's very close to my heart on that aspect. My brother, who's 1 year behind me, and we've always been closer than you can imagine, contracted an illness and died very suddenly in February of this year. I was his health care agent. I'm under an advanced care plan. I was also his attorney in fact, or power of attorney under his business power of attorney. And why that proved so critical is because of some issues in his family. He had not retired from where he worked, and it was critical that I get him retired before he died for purposes of his pension and things he could not do until he was retired. And I could make those decisions and effectuate that because I had that authority. So we have the last will and testament. We have the durable power of attorney for business. We have the living will, which is your advanced care plan now in a very simple form. And we have your durable power of attorney, which is really your health care agent. They're the same thing. If you leave here with anything, leave here with the fact that when you heretofore heard the term living will, which is not a last will and testament of property, it's a document that would express your health care decisions for the end of your life. We now have this document called an advanced care plan, which is really used today in lieu of the living will. And you'll note right in the very top of the document, you name your health care agent, and you actually name an alternate. Now, Dr. Nunnery alluded to this, and it was alluded to in the film before it cut off, and that was, do you remember the lady in the film who was struggling with the decision? This document not only expresses your wishes in advance of, and I'm going to come back to that, it takes a tremendous burden off your loved ones to have these decisions made. I had a high school friend that we went all the way through grammar school and high school together. She named me as her health care agent. This just happened this past year. She was totally estranged from her mother and her daughter. Those are the only. She was divorced, estranged from her mother, who was still living, estranged from her daughter. They haven't spoken in years. I was named as the health care agent. Can you imagine what would have happened without that? If she hadn't had one, and the two people that arrived at intensive care are her mother, who she's not seen or spoken to in years, and her daughter. And then someone's got to agree on these decisions and make them. Even in a situation not that extreme and not that traumatic, it takes a tremendous burden by you making these decisions now so that your family only has to carry out your wishes and not have to struggle with that decision. Now, I alluded to what advanced care plan really means. The word advance is critical. It means in advance of the stroke, the accident, or the dementia that Dr. Nunnery alluded to. You make these plans in advance of that so that once you are incapacitated, if that occurs to you, those wishes will now be carried out. Remember I said the word durable would be a good segue to understanding advanced care plan, a durable power of attorney for health care, because this advanced care plan is durable. As a matter of fact, it only becomes effective when you are determined to be incapacitated and incapable of making your own health care decisions. That's a departure from the living will and the durable power of attorney for health care. So this advanced care plan is made in advance of something happening to you where you can no longer express your wishes for your end-of-life health care decisions. And it only becomes effective at that time. You'll note then it has where you literally check off the things that you don't want to occur. After quality of life, you first of all define what you determine as your own quality of life that you want to be maintained. You then check off literally what things you don't want to take place. Resuscitation, liquids and nourishment, etc. And it's very clear. One thing I like about this form as opposed to the living will, it's very clear, the directions are clear, they're simplified, and it's something anybody can understand. You can download it, you can get the form from healthcare facilities or download it from the state, and you can easily do this advanced care plan. Carry out your own wishes, satisfy your own needs, and take tremendous burden off your family.